upset me so much that Jeremy Clarkson has been allowed to not only think that, but put it in print about somebody who we don't know whether she's fragile or not. And I've got to sort of explain it. Is my daughter was Caroline Flack,
right?
And what was printed in the paper was, so much of it was untrue. And I've had apologies. Even a few months ago, they printed something about her finances, and it was all untrue. So I wrote to the editor, and they sent back an apology. And it's all too easy. It's all too easy just to apologise. And
did they correct it, Christine?
No. All they did was say it was wrong. But I'm too nervous, and I can see, even though Meghan and Harry have got all that money, and they even said, if they can't win, how can anyone else win? How can anyone? And they don't know who they're dealing with. And someone like Jeremy Clarkson can just say what he wants, but it gets printed. That's the worst thing.
And there's a, saying what you want is fine to a degree, and it's the question of degree, isn't it, that people don't seem to manage to understand. I mean, and I'm so grateful you've called, Christine, and I've thought often of Caroline. I didn't know Caroline directly, but I knew friends of hers, and I think often of her, actually, and what a bright star she was, and how when people are telling me today, they're only words, but words really made Caroline suffer sometimes, didn't they?
Yeah, I did watch the programme about Harry and Meghan, because just briefly Carrie knew Harry, and she used to say about what he thought of his mum, and when he met Meghan, I shouldn't say this, I suppose, but he even said to her, I've met a girl I really love. And I don't know what the rights and wrongs are, and I don't want to say, and I don't want William and Kate to be hurt either. You don't want any of them to be hurt.
No.
But, we shouldn't just be able to say awful things. And, Carrie had the most awful threats over things that were written in the paper, and that picture of all her blood on the front of the Sun was let it be known that it was her boyfriend's blood, and it wasn't. It was Carrie's. It's never been corrected, Sheila. And people were still right about that, as if they knew what went on. Well, and they didn't.
I can, Christine, I can barely imagine what that must be like for you. And I hope by you saying it on this programme, it's gone some way to being corrected in people's minds. But I mean, when it comes to the Sun,
they don't learn, do they, Sheila?
No, they don't. No, because
they've got this new editor who was going to change it all, Victoria. She hasn't changed a thing. When you see some of the headlines, and all the, like other people said, all the terrible things that are happening in this world, and people are going to be so hard up this Christmas, they're still worrying about writing something awful about Meghan. I don't get it.
No, I know. I mean, there's something sick in people who would, to write. I'm a journalist, so I say things that are strong, and when I powerfully disagree with somebody or whatever. But to take time out of your day to write what Clarkson wrote about a young woman within days of her telling the world how appalling the impact has been, is it's so many shades of cruel. It's brutal. It reveals him, I think, to be either a brutal man or a brutalised man who doesn't know what to do with what he feels about her. Because to be that full of rage against someone you don't even know is plain odd. It's plain odd.
It's incredible. And for a man I would imagine he's got a nice life. I don't know. Perhaps he's very unhappy, and that's, his way of doing it. I don't know. But why write something so bad? And we thought, at least when Carrie died, this thing about being kind, it isn't a joke. It's a real thing. No. And if you're going to write something about someone, let it be nice. Otherwise just leave it alone and have your own opinions in private.
But... Well, now that That's a mum talking, and I'm a journalist. So, but, people will. I don't mind if they write Harry and Meghan aren't my cup of tea, or
No.
people are saying that about me every day. No, but that's fine. That's just my view of your programme is X or Y or Z, and they could have easily said it about your daughter, your lovely daughter Caroline. But it's again, I go back to that thing. It's the degrees of the language that's used, and truth matters, obviously. So the truth would be a start, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean,
but it fires up other people that aren't nice.
Or
they get
or
on
are
the
dangerous,
bandwagon, don't they?
Or are dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah, not everyone's going to be like, Kerry could be ever so annoying on telly, and I know people used to, and we all sit there, don't we, say, I don't like them, or I don't like that, but it's not, you wouldn't sit down and write an article about it, would you?
Well, do you know what I remember most is her fantastic couple's choice dance on Strictly.
Thank you.
That she won to, didn't she? It was amazing. And I didn't go to it, but I saw lots on Instagram about the gorgeous event called Flack that her family and friends staged to raise funds for mental health awareness and support. And again,
and it was a safe space. We had loads of people there to do with mental health. It wasn't a big concert for anything else, but it was a safe space for families to come and talk, and they did talk, because so many people, people know what I've gone through because Carrie was on the telly, but so many people go through that, Sheila.
Yeah. And it was a sign of how much she was loved, the people that did show up to perform and show up to dance and sing. And I saw an awful lot of it on Instagram, and I wished I'd been there. But it was, again, it was a sign of just how loved she still is, Christine. Yeah,
it's doing positive things, isn't it? Not, but that today has made me feel negative again, because I think, that's not nice, and the Sun are still getting away with it, and I shouldn't say that because they'll probably write something, but they still get away with it, and
Sodom.
Are
you able to watch Caroline doing her dancing?
I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you go and watch that couple's choice dance to cheer yourself up?
I am. Yeah.
It was so beautiful.
Sorry, I probably didn't say all the right things, but I just, people have got to be kinder.
Well, Christine, thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
I'll send you lots of love.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Christine. Christine, Caroline Flack's mum.